Is it best that we just lay it out here, kind of, I guess, an abbreviated timeline of how this went? Like, I think that's probably the best thing to do. What happened, how it happened.
Yeah,
Okay.
and you know better than anybody. You were there. You watched the players leave.
Yes.
That was not
So,
you in the bushes that got video of Brian Kelly leaving in his his Audi hatchback, whatever station wagon.
yeah.
And I can't remember who said it, who I was listening to, but that right there is like the epitome of why he did not fit in Baton Rouge.
He needed about a 1964 Bronco. Like, I mean, that's what he needed. Just you know those cars they call jalopies. That's what he needed to be driving around Baton Rouge.
What is this comment?
I don't know. Alex was in the chat last night over at the Bengal Tiger, just
Hey, look.
spewing.
Either way, thanks for the view.
Yeah, we appreciate it. So let's start with the timeline. So LSU loses in just absolutely brutal fashion to Texas A&M. We were all texting during the game, and I know you said why when I said this is as close as I've come to cheering in a press box in a very long time.
That was in the first half.
That was the first half, man, because LSU is up 18-14. They've got the block punt for a safety. Truthfully, they orchestrated one of the best offensive drives. They found a run game with Harlem Berry. And, I mean, A&M had over 300 yards of total offense in the first half, but multiple turnovers from Marcel Reed, clutch performance from LSU. It gave them a lead. And the second half started, and LSU was nowhere to be found. Laid over, rolled over, Brian Kelly cussing out multiple assistants, everyone inside. And we're going to talk about that here in a second. But Kelly leaves the field, and I'm walking, in front of Kelly. He's leaving the field. One thing LSU does, and I know a lot of people do this as well, but LSU, from what I was told, typically does not sing the alma mater after losses. I don't think that's true, but I just can't confirm it. I think that they sing the alma mater win or lose, and they obviously leave. Brian Kelly beelines to the tunnel, leaves, while now interim head coach and LSU legend Frank Wilson makes sure some players, and I tweeted out both videos, stay on the field. Kelly comes back out regardless. We get in the post-game press conference. Kelly does not come to the media for 45 minutes. Now, I can confirm this, and I was just talking about this on a show an hour ago. The order of which Brian Kelly talks to players and coaches post-game. He goes coaches first, then players, and then he comes to talk to the media. Where we sit for post-game, you can see players leaving. They were leaving, and Kelly still hadn't showed up, which told me they had already been like a dismissal of the team. Hey, go get your stuff, whatever. I later confirmed through some other people Kelly was trying to he took some moments to himself. He wanted to take a moment. I will say this. I don't think Brian Kelly truly believed before he walked to the lectern, to the podium, whatever you want to call it. I don't believe that he thought LSU was going to fire him. And I'll get into that in a second.
I agree with that.
He goes to the media. He does the press conference. Ironically enough, he is asked multiple questions about whether he thinks he is the guy for the job. What type of message would he send to the fan base? And so, bottom line, we move into the next day. We wake up on Sunday down here in Baton Rouge, and the expectation is that changes are going to be made. Joe Sloan, the offensive coordinator, Brad Davis, the offensive line coach, and Cortez Hankton, your co-OC and wide receivers coach, would all be let go. And it makes sense, right? Offense has been pretty bad. The offensive line has been putrid. There's been no development. And also, too, you're in a bye week. So if you're going to do it, this is when you do it. You can get analysts or whoever's going to take over before you head into Tuscaloosa in 2 weeks and play that Alabama team. The tune starts to change around mid-morning. I've talked with several recruits, as typically how it happens after your game day visit. You go meet with the coaches. They meet as normal. Will, I said this on the Bengal Tiger show last night. You had kids getting offers from coaches we expected to be fired an hour or two later. That's how nuts this was. Yeah. They could not answer questions about the future of their job. Mid-morning creeps to noon, creeps to the afternoon, and we haven't heard anything. Well, let me take you inside. There was a 4-person meeting inside the LSU football facility between Scott Woodward, the athletic director, and also Brian Kelly, the two aforementioned people I will not name because they are key points to this story, but I'm not going to name them. You have a situation to where you are in a heated conversation about what changes need to be made. Scott Wilburn offers his opportunity to talk. Brian Kelly matches with a level of aggression, I was told, about what he wanted to happen. He didn't want to make some of the changes. He wanted to make different changes. One of the unnamed people in this meeting, Will, and this is where, when you talk about politics and getting political, this is where it gets crazy. LSU does not have a president, so Governor Jeff Landry is, in fact, a part of the decision-making process. That's not the crazy part. One of these members leaves the room after a heated exchange, some colorful words exchanged about the direction of the program. Brian Kelly.
Kelly using colorful language? No.
Brian Kelly balks at the idea of taking a percentage at this point in time of his salary to leave and says, no, you're going to pay me the $53 million, I'm told. One of these people walk out of the meeting, make a phone call to the Board of Supervisors, Board of Directors, and also to the governor's mansion 3 miles away from campus and say, hey, can we make this happen? Now, Ross Dellinger of Yahoo Sports, he does a fantastic job reporting all this. He ended up writing, it was like they were passing around the offering plate, the collection plate up in the suites late in that third and fourth quarter in Baton Rouge and Tiger Stadium. Will, there's an emergency meeting later that afternoon at the governor's mansion. Brian Kelly is then notified at around 6:30 that he is going to be let go regardless. They're still negotiating the real buyout, but they said, we're not going to have you be our head coach. We head to campus. Brian Kelly meets with the team for 10 minutes. He walks out. The team walks out after him. Players are laughing. Players are kind of joking. There's not a solemn sense, and we'll get into a lot of the factors of this here in a second. But you have a situation to where your head coach is fired on a day where you thought coordinators would be fired. And I just say this, and I'll throw it to you, because there's the story, and I want your reaction, because we've talked about this a little bit, how quickly this accelerated from being, hey, we need you to make some changes, to we've got $53 million regardless, we're going to buy you out, you're done. I think that's one of the more fascinating aspects. Oh, and then you add Jeff Landry essentially called Brian Kelly's bluff and said, we're going to make some changes here. I don't care if there's not a president. We're going to get some movers and shakers moving in the capital city. And we sit here now on Monday evening with LSU, we'll get into this later, in my opinion, being the top job available in college football. So I just laid all that out for you. I guess from a fan's perspective of the sport, what is your reaction to what I've said, and just, I guess, how fast this came together?
I think that's what's the most surprising, is how fast it all came together and how quickly it changed. But man, we got to be honest. This marriage was doomed from the start.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the videos on Twitter have resurfaced all day. You know, Brian Kelly's first appearance, getting in Baton Rouge with his family. You know, just from then on, I remember watching that and I'm like, oh, that's a bad start. You better win. You better win. And he won. I mean, he won. He coached
34-14. You know,
34-14.
Will, but he's 4-11 against AP ranked teams.
Right. Yeah. 4-11 against ranked teams. That's not good enough at LSU, right? I mean, it's tough because you're playing really good teams, but LSU is really good. You're never going to be hurting for talent at LSU. You're going to be comparable to everybody that you play, everybody on your schedule. You're going to have comparable talent. 4-11 is not good enough. It's not. But I think it was savable though. But Brian Kelly didn't want it to be. I think he was tired of it, and I think we saw that early in the year when he went after the media. You're spoiled. You're spoiled answer.
Yeah.
And I commented this on the show last night and expecting to get more reaction to it, but I didn't. But that shows you how many people were locked in listening. LSU fans have a right to be spoiled. They've won 3 national championships this century. That's as many as anybody. I agree with you, what you said. LSU is the best job available. It's the best open head coaching job for that reason. And it's been 3 different head coaches that have done it. So that tells you you're going to have players good enough to do it. You just have to steer the ship good enough and in the right direction to get it done. And I think Brian Kelly, just as a just as a flat out football coach, I think was good enough for it. But again, the SEC's slogan everybody makes fun of, it just means more. You have to be more than just a football coach in the SEC. Like, I think as far as X's and O's football coach, I'm going to get in here and make it about myself. I think Brian Harsin could have been successful in the SEC from an X's and O's perspective.
Yeah, it's the buy-in.
It's the buy-in. It's doing the off-the-field things. It's wanting to recruit. Now we're hearing, I don't know if you knew this before today, but a lot of people coming out saying, yeah, Brian Kelly didn't recruit. He was going on vacation during bye weeks. I mean, during portal recruiting time, he's on vacation. I mean, yeah, you're getting paid a lot of money, but you're getting paid a lot of money to work 80 hours a week for what, 8 months of the year, probably 6 months of the year, at least 80 hours a week. I mean, so it's what you sign up for. And when you're in the SEC, and not just the SEC, ACC, Big 10, Big 12, the Power 4, that's a commitment that you're signing up for. And it does mean more. And you have to hear Nick Saban talk about it all the time, the process. You got to love the process. Hearing Kurt Cignetti say it now, since he's still coaching, you got to love the process. That starts at the top. And everything that you said from the reaction to players, I know you've got more to speak on that, but especially after the game, that tells me that he lost that locker room on Saturday night during that game. And I'm kind of surprised it took this long, because that's just who Brian Kelly is. He's an abrasive head coach, demands a lot, which is, if you want to win a championship, that's what you have to have. But again, from day one, just not a fit for LSU, just not a fit. And honestly, he should have known it, and the people that went out to hire him should have known it from the beginning too.
Well, so a couple things to that. That's why there's a lot of pressure on Scott Woodward. Is Scott Woodward going to be allowed to hire the next football coach, or is Jeff Landry going to be directly involved? We do expect down here for LSU to name a president here within the next 2 to 3 weeks, and I'm fairly certain I know who it is, and we'll kind of go from there in terms of that. But to what you said, I guess we'll kind of wrap up this Brian Kelly and why this didn't work, and then we'll go into what this job means. Brian Kelly didn't work at LSU, and I know Dev had the comment earlier, because he was the most hands-off CEO you could possibly be. Brian Kelly didn't remember his players' names in press conferences. I mean, and I'm not trying to make fun of a situation here. Will, we sat, as every single coach does during the early signing period, and runs through, hey, this is who we signed, this is what we liked about him. Will, there are the director of recruiting and the general manager sitting 3 rows above us in the team room, having to confirm what he is saying because he's reading off a sheet of paper, and Brian Kelly has to ask them, that's right about that, right? Live on a stream during the press conference. Brian Kelly was so far removed from what was happening inside that building. We talk about the vacation aspect. Okay, let's go to that point. I talked with someone today, a former parent of a player on a team last year. The inside knowledge of this is, and this player has been at different programs and has had family members at different programs. They've been accustomed to being parents of kids that have different coaches that work with them. It's not out of the realm of craziness that coaches go on vacation during bye weeks. The NCAA does mandate you cannot practice strictly for 2 straight weeks. You do have to have that time. You can do some certain things, and if you're a CEO type, you can delegate, and your assistants, your coordinators probably build more of the relationships nowadays anyways. It's not that is getting people. It's when you do that and you are as brash as he is, you come out last December and say, we'll see you in the national championship, we're keeping receipts, and then you fall flat and you don't have answers and you attack the media. This isn't one little thing that Brian Kelly did wrong. This is a culmination of issues that led to his demise. And like I said, I firmly believe Saturday night he didn't think he was going to get fired. I know Sunday morning he didn't think he was going to get fired. Sunday afternoon, when he challenged the powers that be in the LSU brass, probably started to wonder, I might be walking out of here tonight and getting on a plane going somewhere.
Based off what I saw on Twitter, if the picture's accurate, he's still in town.
Okay, I haven't seen this picture. Apparently, he was at a very awesome local spot, by the way.
Yeah, we saw the same thing.
So, okay, I haven't seen it yet. I was just told about it on the previous show. So we don't know there. But, so there's that aspect of why Brian Kelly didn't work. Also, the aspect of what you kind of mentioned with the players. Does anybody like working for him? Because you get verbally abused on national television. Every single time the TV cuts to Kelly, he is chewing someone out. He's chewing, not just chewing him out, like he's telling the special teams coordinator, this is what gets you fired. He's berating Joe Sloan, the OC, like he's a little kid.
One punt return cost a special teams assistant his job.
Yeah, he should have been talking about himself in terms of that. All of this to say, Will, the toxicity level that has been inside that building has kept LSU, who I think is on paper a pretty good team this year and still is. It's kept them from being who they really need to be. Brian Kelly has missed on hires. He tried to erase the state of Louisiana when he first got there by telling Corey Raymond to go kick rocks and don't come here, by letting Blake Baker go to Missouri.
He didn't even talk to him.
Didn't talk to him, man. I'll throw it back to you here. Brian Kelly's going to be remembered for, if he could have made the right decisions at the beginning and not had the ego, probably does win a national title. You know why? Because in 2023, you had a national title level offense with your Heisman Trophy winner and 2 first-round receivers. This year, you didn't have a national title level defense. You got a pretty good one. If you could have figured this out from the beginning and made decisions and listened to people and not just tried to go in there like you ran things at Notre Dame and maybe ease off the gas a little bit, maybe we're talking about maybe not a national title, but 2 playoff appearances. And it's just one of those things where I kind of sit here. Brian Kelly didn't work out because it's his fault. He dug this hole, and he has to lie in it. $53 million makes you feel better about it. But as we kind of sit here right now, man, I don't feel that's the next thing. Maybe. I guess to close on Brian Kelly, man, it's weird. It is eerie to kind of stand outside of a football facility when a head coach is packing their things. It was a little bit surreal how quickly this thing went down. Overall, Brian Kelly made his bed. He's going to have to lie in it, and LSU's going to move on. So I guess final thoughts on Kelly to anything I said right there, and then we'll talk about this LSU job in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah, I mean, he lost. He didn't work. Just to echo you, he didn't work because of himself. It was his personality. It was his attitude. It was really odd that was kind of his attitude. I mean, he played in one national championship game at Notre Dame and got just absolutely blasted by Alabama in 2012. So yeah, he had a really good program at Notre Dame and won a lot of games, but what did he have to show for it? I mean, he came in acting like he was a multi-time national champion and operated that way. And I agree. I think every year, every team he had at LSU had the talent to at least contend for the SEC and for even a national title. First, it was the offense, and then here recently the defense. I mean, I still think this defense is really good, and now I think the offense is the problem.
Yeah.
But it's like you said, he got the hires wrong, and I'm really surprised, and we can get more into the buyout if you want to. I'm kind of surprised LSU's paying him anything, because there's been head coaches that have been fired for cause for fostering a toxic work environment.
Yes, there has been.
But LSU, I think, has the money, and they said, we're tired of this problem. Just go away.